Recording has started. This session, welcome to the July 18th, 20. Participating in this session, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and use of this session. No other recording of this session is allowed, and that would include any kind of automatic AI notes. Okay. Chrissy, if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
All right. Well, we're so excited that we have the opportunity to share some things about the professional development system. And we decided to start today with a fun Kahoot. So I think most of you have done Kahoots before, but what's going to happen is if you have your smartphone, you'll be able to join with your smartphone via scanning a QR code that's going to show on the screen. Or there's also going to be a code that you can use by playing with a pin. So we can copy that and put that in the chat. So we'll give everybody a moment to get connected to the Kahoot. It's only going to be a 6-question Kahoot. It looks like some of you are already in. And if you do have trouble getting connected to the Kahoot, you're welcome to type answers in the chat as well. We're just kind of, again, doing this for fun and see what people already know about the PDS. So for those of you that were at the kickoff a year or two ago, we did a Kahoot, and I know some people came up with interesting names and characters. So I see most people are using their regular names, but this should be fun to see who gets the questions correct and how fast you get it, and if you get to the leaderboard. All right, looks like we have pretty much everybody in, so I think we'll go ahead and get started with it. They definitely have some fast fingers. See lots of answers coming in. 3 seconds left. All right, it looks like 47 of you got that correct. PDS stands for Professional Development System, and some of you were probably really listening because I did give that away a few minutes ago. All right, so Peggy's in the lead right now with those fast fingers, and we've got Lauren, KM, Kim, and Josh. On to question 2. All right, a little bit more of a spread this time, but all of our project contact information and emails are on the PAIR website. And when we switch back over to the team meeting and the PowerPoint, we will put the direct link to that page where all our contact information is. Peggy's still in the lead. All right, 3 seconds. Looks like we have maybe one more person. All right, so this is false. The PDS project is here to support you in the work that you do to meet those policies, but it is your advisors at the division that should be providing guidance on those policies. Oh, now we're getting some mix up on the board. AW is in the lead now. Three more questions. We definitely just got a little tricky on this one. So there are 7 projects, and so today you'll get to hear a little bit about each project and get to know them a little better. All right, AW still in the lead. 2 more questions. Oh, I'm kind of surprised. They do see a spread on this one. So none of our projects are located in Harrisburg at PDE. We all receive grants from PDE like all of you do and operate under other locations and organizations. So you'll get to, again, see where some of us are from as we present today. And last question, this one is a fun one. And for those of you that have been in the field for a while, I think you're going to get it right, but we'll see what happens. And we'll see if AW can hold on to that lead. Well, most of you know, Chuck and I are not related, but we do really enjoy getting to work together and provide support to the program. So thanks everyone for playing that fun game. Looks like Waylon ended up hitting the top of the board. KM came in second and Amanda in third. So I'm going to stop sharing and we'll go back to our PowerPoint.
And that was another Amanda, although I would like to say that I did get them all correct. Thank goodness, right? Okay, I'll be forwarding the slides, but I'll turn it over to the PDS.
Great.
Yeah.
I am taking over. This is Amanda Ruth with the Prolo team, Professional Learning Opportunities team. I'm one of the newer consultants that joined the team in December, and I'm going to get a chance to talk a little bit about our customized PD that we are going to be looking at for this program year. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. So myself and Diane Schauer are here today to answer any of your questions. If you do have any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat. We'll try and get to them as we go. But if we don't, we will try and save a few minutes at the end to make sure that we address any questions that come along. So some of you may have seen before if you got a chance to come to our Program PD webinar, but one of the first things that we're looking at for our customized professional development opportunity is the student work protocol, along with resource alignment and lesson revision, lesson study, and peer observation. So that's kind of the first half. And then if we go to the next slide, you're going to get to see a couple more options. Teaching skills that matter in adult education. Some of you may have participated in that in the past, but we're changing things up just a little bit. English language proficiency standards as well. You may have seen that before, but we're going to make some changes for this upcoming year. Instructional routines for transitioning English language learners. peer mentoring in IELCE, and family literacy year 2. So we're going to get a chance to talk first a little bit about the student work protocol. So for the student work protocol, we are focusing on the fact that although we have Table 4 and Table 4B reports, we want to look at some of the other data that's coming in through student work. So the student work protocol will guide instructors through the process of analyzing their own lessons and assignments by identifying what the best matching standard is and clarifying whether that skill is actually being taught. It gives instructors the tools and skills necessary to effectively evaluate the data that is student work and in order to strengthen the assignments within the lesson and create more clarified and explicit outcomes. This protocol, as well as the 2 others I'll describe in the upcoming slides, are within the same format. Your program will be assigned a coach who will work with the program's PLCs to walk you through the process, as well as help set deadlines and goals for training and implementation. You can reach out to your program's consultant to find more in-depth information about each of these upcoming protocols. So the second one that we're going to talk about is the lesson revision and resource alignment. This process goes a little bit further, a little bit deeper than the lesson study protocol by guiding instructors through evaluation of existing resources and lessons and making revisions so that the resource and lessons are better aligned to the standards and more explicitly teaching the skills that are intended. Next is the lesson study protocol, and this one will guide instructors through a review process of their existing lessons and help instructors create standards-aligned lessons to meet explicit instructional goals. The next is the peer observation process, which I've been able to look at a lot this year. On your screen, you'll see 3 of the resources that are supporting that process. Peer observation is going to guide participants through the pre-observation, observation, and post-observation with specific goals in mind. As you saw in one of the beginning slides, there's a couple of different areas that you can focus on. There is just general lesson skills. There's ELA, math, ESL, trauma-informed care or trauma-informed practices, and family literacy. So each lesson you'll pick a couple as a pair and look at the individual skills that are important to you to helping your program be successful. And once again, any of those 3, if you have questions about them, you can go ahead and talk to your program consultant and they can get you set up with what to do next steps. So next, we're going to look at teaching skills that matter in adult education. This one has been around for a little bit, but programs will pick the participants that they would like to have focus and look at lessons involving civics, digital literacy, health literacy, financial literacy, and or workforce preparation. The instructors will work with a coach to learn how to use the instructional approaches and integrate the transition skills through guided study activities and lesson plan implementation. So there will be an opportunity for you to do that, as well as looking at English language proficiency standards, which in the past has had a very similar setup. So this training is looking at a customized approach rather than the scheduled statewide series of webinars. The PLCs will meet at least 4 times with a coach and follow the process that is listed out on the slide. Next, we're going to look at instructional routines for transitioning English language learners. This was something that took place in the past, but is going to be kind of focused on again in the future. And these routines are effective for learners who are at various levels of ESL and ABE. So if you have those classes where you may have the transitioning learners, or maybe you just have learners that you're looking at who might fall into one of the either one of those categories, there's a focus on ELA and math, and it can be integrated into the PIPD objectives with support from a coach. Next, we're going to look at peer mentoring. And with the peer mentoring, you're looking at specifically the IELCE, which we always used to call the ice cream program, but stands for Integrated English Literacy and Civics Education Instructors. And with the support of your coach, you're going to identify a goal to focus on for the program year. And then once again, with the support of your coach, complete a peer observation process at least twice, and then debrief with others learning within your program during a wrap-up meeting with your coach. So once again, working really closely with agency consultants to try and get us through the program. And then we also have the Family Literacy Institute for year 2. So some of you participated in this in the past. Once again, we're looking at doing a little bit more of a customized approach, so designed for teens in the Family Literacy Program to continue their work. The purpose being to strengthen opportunities for caregivers to take on those leadership roles in the classroom, in the school, and in the community. And you'll choose from a menu of leadership activities to implement in your program over the course of the year. Some of the things to remember or be aware of as you're doing your PIPD planning, you're going to find the actual document and an example, the template and the example in the program PD team course. And if you don't have access to that course because you newly joined, please reach out to your agency consultant or the PD portal team to get access to that course. The program PD team will meet with the agency consultant to review a draft. And something that is a little bit different, but a lot of agencies have already done in the past, you will be asked to submit a draft of your PIPD plan at least 2 weeks before your meeting with your agency consultant. And then the final PIPD plans will be due on September 2nd, and those will be sent to your Prolo consultant. Our next slide has all of the information for the Prolo consultants. So myself and Diane are here today, but we also have Sarah Cole, Chelsea DeLeo, and Jonathan Edwards, who you may or may not recognize. If any one of us would be happy to answer questions. If you have a specific question that can be directed, or if you have a general question, feel free to reach out. And I will be handing the presentation over to Matt Manfred.
And are there any questions for Amanda before we move on? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, just checking. So we thought it would be a good idea in sort of a meta way to, during this division webinar, to show you where to find division webinars, I guess after this one, or if you're looking for past webinars. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So there's a couple of things we want to do. The first thing is we're going to look where to find them. And then right there on that same page, we're going to see where to find the PDF slides. Because a lot of times we include hyperlinks and all kinds of good information for you to follow up on later. So if you want to see the PDF slides, that can be important. With the recordings, we always include closed captions, and those closed captions can be used as transcripts. So if you miss or want to review a webinar that you think of, you can just read the transcripts of what we are saying right now. So that's a possibility. And then you can see past recordings of past years or previously of this year. Okay. So you find them on the PAER.org, right? We're all familiar, PAAER, PA Adult Ed Resources. Go to the Administrator Webinars and Meetings page. And so it looks like we can go to that. Okay, so that takes you, and then on the left-hand side, that is last year's 23-24. We're going to be updating as soon as we get rolling here. with the 24-25 schedule. And as we roll out throughout the year, you see the PDF slides, and then later on after the webinar, the recording for each webinar. So that's where you find it. Administrators, webinars, and meetings. So you can see the recording. So go ahead and, if you would, click on a recording, any of those recordings there, takes you to the YouTube recording. Okay, so there's closed captions you can put on, and if you want to see the transcript, yeah, just below, you click on more, and then the transcript's there. It is the same text as the closed captions, but you can copy and paste that, and you can read through. And if you don't want to, if you just want to skim for something, and there's ways you can search that as well. Okay, so right in YouTube, you have the transcripts. On the website, you have the PDF slides to see the slides. You can click on the recordings to hear the recordings. For this one, maybe one you missed, maybe last month, 2 months ago, what did we talk about? Or if if you really want to go to, actually go back to the PowerPoint, and we can see the playlist. So in this, which will be a PDF slides, there's a link to the YouTube playlist. Okay, this is where you would find previous years' videos. They're in chronological order from reverse. So just scroll down, you can see way back. Don't know why you would, but there they are. So that's it. So pretty straightforward. Any questions about how or where to find these webinars? Okay, thank you. And this, I'm handing off to Chuck.
Okay, hi everybody. My name's Chuck Klinger. I manage the Digital Literacy and Distance Education Project, also called DLDE. And I'm just going to share some resources, some of the courses that we're offering this year that you might want to consider as you're doing your planning for the year, whether it's PIPD planning or just professional development planning, maybe separate from your PIPD plan. So if you could go to the next slide, please. All right, I'm going to talk about resources and courses in 3 broad categories. The first one is supporting digital literacy or digital resilience in students. The second one is supporting digital literacy and resilience in staff. And the third is maximizing the impact of distance learning. There will obviously be overlap, but I'm going to kind of talk about which resources and courses focus on these particular areas. So the first area is supporting digital literacy and resilience in students. Just a couple of resources you should be familiar with. The Digital Literacy Skills Checklist, which is part of the PA Foundation Skills. We've done a lot of work in conjunction with Chrissy, who's relishes in telling people that she's not related to me, Chrissy Klinger. But we do a lot of work with Chrissy and Loretta, working with agencies on the PA Foundation Skills, and the Digital Literacy Skills Checklist is part of that. Also on the PARE website, the PA Adult Ed Resources site, we have resources that are aligned to each of the digital literacy skills. So that's something that if you're looking for things to support your students, a lot of times with asynchronous type learning and not necessarily things that you can report, but just if you want to provide resources to kind of help them develop some of the digital literacy skills that we have identified, that's a good place to go to look for that. And some of the courses that will be offered this year that are very specific to helping students with digital resilience, introduction to the workforce preparation skills, which is kind of like a primer for the PA Foundation Skills. We have several courses that are going to be available. They're short courses, like 3 to 5 hours, on universal design for learning. Now, universal design for learning encompasses a lot more than digital literacy, but technology and digital literacy are certainly part of the key teachings of universal design for learning. Also, digital resilience in the American workforce, which is DRAW. It was a nationally developed institute that we'll be offering this year. It's support for teachers in thinking about ed tech routines and using ed tech routines in the classroom. So it's something that the teachers may develop digital literacy skills, but as part of this work, they will be applying it to the classroom, and there will be like an observation component. Agency teams will participate, so not just individual teachers. So it will be like an instructional leader for each program, along with 2 to 8 teachers from that program. And the teachers will get support in developing ed tech routines, implementing in the classroom, and the instructional leader will get support with integrating it to the rest of the program, and also in observing classes and what to look for in terms of improving digital literacy in classroom observations. So there will be coaching involved in that. And then the last course is building an ed tech strategy toolkit. And it's kind of like Draw Light. It's more for individual teachers. There are no, administrators or instructional leaders don't need to participate. So if you just have like one teacher or a couple teachers that just want to participate independently and maybe not quite have the intensity of Draw, again, working with different digital tools, thinking about which ones they want to build ed tech routines around and get into the classroom and have students working with. So those are just some of the things, if your emphasis wants to be on digital literacy and resilience for your students, that you might want to keep in mind. Next slide, please. All right, now digital literacy and resilience in staff. So some of the key resources. We have a document called the Digital Literacy Competencies for Educators. That's something that's very similar in nature to the adult teacher competencies that are on the LINCS website, but these are specific to digital literacy. Just like with the digital literacy skills for students, we do have like a checklist of resources that are aligned to those digital literacy competencies. Oh, can people hear me? I saw a chat that we lost sound.
I can still hear you, Chuck.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, thanks. All right, and lastly, again, tied to those digital literacy competencies, we have a self-assessment. So teachers can work with their IHPDS or digital literacy specialist on completing a self-assessment to think about which of the digital literacy competencies they might want to focus on for professional development. And courses specific to digital literacy and resilience in staff. We have a Google Applied Digital Skills course, which is a very independent course. A teacher or any staff actually can select any Google Applied Digital tool and complete a lesson on that, implement it in their work in some way. Doesn't have to be in the classroom. It could be lesson planning. It could be communication, anything like that, and write a reflective paper, and they will get professional development credit for doing that. There's also a Google Certified Educator course. This is something that's actually on the Google website, and teachers can, or any staff can go through that. It's a much broader class. The Google Applied Digital Skills course is very focused on one Google Applied tool. The certified educators focused on all of them, like learning about everything on the Google Suite. It basically prepares them to take a test to actually get certified by Google as a certified educator. And then the other course that I wanted to mention is something called Building Your Digital Skills, which is basically something where staff would complete the self-assessment. That's one of the key resources, and go through with their digital literacy specialist or IHPDS and one of our staff to develop a professional development plan based on that self-assessment. So again, it's a way to kind of go through the process, but learn as they go and have come out of it with a detailed plan for how they're going to develop their digital skills. And then the next slide. And the other one is maximizing the impact of distance learning. So the key resources, the Ideal Distance and Blended Learning Handbook. That's like a nationally developed resource that's available on distance and blended learning. We have some student-facing tools on the Adult Ed Resources website. Screening tools, is distance learning right for me? Things like that. Searchable distance learning curriculum catalog. So all of the approved resources for supplemental distance learning, we have like a little write-up on, and it's something that you can actually filter the resources by certain criteria, based on NRS levels that they focus on, subjects, is it mobile friendly, things like that. So if you're looking to maybe try a different resource, or if you want to do some research on that, that's something that can be helpful for that. And then also supplemental distance learning lessons. So these are things that are more like projects or independent lessons that a student can do asynchronously. And when they complete that lesson, you can award time based on that. So there are probably about 15 to 20 lessons like that that are on the website. And courses specific to distance learning using a learning management system, intake and orientation for distance learning, improving distance learning instruction, which has to do with distance learning as a whole, not just the real-time remote classes, because there is a class or a course specific to improving real-time remote instruction. So those are some of the courses that will be available this year if you're interested in focusing on distance learning. And then the last slide, just other types of support that are available. We can do customized like technical assistance or other support. Sometimes people just have questions that they email us. We have a community of practice for the digital literacy specialists. We're going to offer makerspace activities where they're kind of like a workshop, where maybe if we did a makerspace on ed tech routines, everybody would develop an ed tech routine. And if you have like 20 teachers involved in that, then they would all share the products that they have. So then we would have like 20 ed tech routines that could be shared among the group. We have a planning guide for technical assistance. So if you're not quite sure what you want to work on, but you kind of want to do something with distance learning or something with digital literacy, that's something that can help you maybe come up with some more deliberate goals. And then a technology planning tool, just a general tool for different ways you can use technology and benefit from it. All right. I think there might be a couple questions. Oh, this slide just has our staff and contact information. And okay, somebody just asked a question about the education certification through Google. I should mention anybody can take the test, and there are two levels of the test. I think the beginning level is a $10 that somebody has to pay to take it. The advanced is $30, I believe. I'm not 100% sure about that. I haven't looked at it in several months. So anybody can take those tests. The preparation courses are, I believe, around 20 hours. It's going to vary depending, obviously, on how quickly the teacher works through it. But yeah, figure on, I'd say at least 20 hours for those courses. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, then I'm going to turn it over to Michael to talk about the MIS projects.
Thank you, Chuck. Good morning, everybody. This is, as Chuck had mentioned, I'm Michael McCarty. I am project lead here for the MIS project, better known as, to many of you, eData Tech Support. Steve Linus and myself are the two members of the project, and we provide student support, or really just overall support, for the eData system. And Amanda, if you could go to the next slide. Thank you. So as a brief summary of what we do, some of the items include, we provide technical assistance that I just mentioned for eData, for the whole really data cycle, if you will. So data collection, data entry, all the way through the back end of data analysis. And I'll talk about some courses that we have that support each of those steps here in a few moments. We also provide phone call, email, and Zoom technical support. So if you have any questions, just as many of the other PDS projects have mentioned this morning, feel free to reach out to us directly. We have access to eData and resources there, so we can certainly answer questions related to eData and then data itself. Also, we facilitate monthly and annual webinars. So the monthly webinars, you may know us from the Friday lunchtime webinars that many of the other PDS projects do. We go on the first Friday of the month. Normally our audience is the data quality specialists, but anyone is certainly welcome to join us if you have any kind of a need or desire to be updated with any of the latest updates from eData and just data related topics. In addition to that, we have documentation and tools available on the PAIR site. So the same website that Chrissy shared earlier in the chat, if you're on that website and you look at the top on the toolbar, you'll see there's an entire eData section. In that section, you'll see our contact information, and you'll see resources like the eData guide, the manual glossary, which is just what it says it is. It's a manual and a glossary providing directions and then a definition of terms. There's also a section for the eData template, the access template that we use and provide as a tool for agencies to be able to do your data analysis and data monitoring, and some documentation and modules on the website on that same page that provide some support in how to run the template, how to set it up. And then also we have resources in the PD portal. Some courses I wanted to highlight this morning were a handful, and these are the courses we directly facilitate in the PD portal. And the first would be the Intro to eData course. That one is designed, of course, for really data entry folks at an agency, but anybody is welcome to take the course if you need or want to know more about the eData website, how it works, what kind of data we collect specifically. That's a synchronous course that has a practice component, and that runs September through April, once per month. There's a basic education course and then a family literacy component as well. Then we also currently have an Improving Your Agency's Data Quality course. That's an on-demand course. Once you sign up, you have 60 days, I believe it is, to finish your work through the course. And really, this course looks at more of a data management perspective. How does your agency handle and manage data as you collect it, as you data enter it, and then as you output it to analyze it? And then finally, a course that's in development that you will likely see probably sometime October, November later this year in 2024 is going to be a data detective course. And that's going to be a deep dive into asking critical data questions of your data. And we'll do a little teaser for that in a sense here at the kickoff on day 2, where we'll see many of you and we'll be doing a little data workshop on day 2. That's going to have kind of some of the same concepts, at least, with asking critical data questions. And one last note, we will have our contact information here on the next slide, and also with the PowerPoint if you have a chance to download that. If you have general tech support questions, I recommend calling either the toll-free number or the eData tech support at psu.edu email, because then that goes directly to both Steve and myself. So you increase your odds by 2 that there'll be somebody able and available to answer your questions sooner than later. But I would say if I have one request to make, and that is we have a listserv that goes out to everybody that's of course on the list, and we announce eData updates. If there's a problem with the system, we send out updates via the listserv. If we have a new template file to download, really pertinent and important updates that administrators, data quality specialists are really going to want to be just kind of available and hear. If you have any updates for that, send me a direct email at mdm151@psu.edu. I'll be sending out a more formal request for that, but just while I have you all here, if you have some folks, and I know that there are some retirements, some new folks, we've been adding some new names to the listserv. But as you think of that, this time frame right here, late July, early August, is a great time to reset the list and get going with a fresh list for the new year. That's it from me. Turn it over now to Chrissy, who's going to tell you a little bit more about her projects.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to talk about the Workforce Development System Liaison Project and also the Integrated Education and Training Project. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So on the screen, you'll see the basic topics that we offer support with the Workforce Development System Liaison Project. And I just want to take a moment to share some new and exciting things that we're offering this year. So during the kickoff, we will be giving each program a tube of 5 PA Foundation Skills 2-foot by 3-foot posters. So for some of you that have been around for a while and you might still have Foundation Skills Framework posters in classrooms, we're excited to get these posters out. And we're also going to give you a 1-pager with some different suggestions on where to hang the posters and things to do with the posters. And once we get those initial 5 posters out to all the programs, please touch base with Loretta if you would like more, and we'll see what we can do to get some more posters out. We'll also put a PDF version of that if you would want to print different sizes of that and hang it in different places, you could. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that's new is that Loretta has completed the Registered Apprenticeship Navigator program over the last year. So we're really proud of her for all her work with that. And so if you're in an area that you feel apprenticeship is growing and you would like support on aligning your adult education programming to apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship, as Loretta reaches out to each of the administrators this year at the beginning of the year to set up some one-on-one meetings, definitely talk with her about that and how she might be able to support your programs and connecting with apprenticeships. We're also developing a new course for student support coordinators, but really other people could take this course as well. And this is going to focus on supporting English language learners with goal setting. We know that many of the programs across the Commonwealth have started to see an increase in English language learners at various levels. And also some of you are serving English language learners for the very first time. So this will be a shorter course offered towards the end of 2024, and we'll do it in cohorts, so it'll be offered multiple times through the year. We're also going to turn some of our current student support coordinator courses, like our transitioning to employment and transitioning to post-secondary, to on-demand courses for student support coordinators. And so early 2025, those courses will be available and on demand. And in addition to all the courses that we offer, we also want to encourage everyone to think about checking back in on workforce staff training, and I'll put the link in the chat. The workforce staff training course, many of you in the field have already taken, the Introduction to PA Career Link, but we do have a second course on there now that's been created as a collaboration between Adult Education and Department of Labor and OVR that focuses on coordinated service delivery. So how we do a customer-focused approach and do shared case management and co-enrollment. So some really great information and resources, and we're continuing to work with our partners at the state level to add additional courses to workforce staff training as well. We can go to the next slide, please. So on the screen, you'll see our pictures and contact information. As I mentioned, Loretta's here throughout the year to support administrators, and she's going to continue to attend local workforce development board meetings and meet with administrators and coalitions after those meetings to continue to find ways to collaborate with our workforce partners. And Alexis is there to support student support coordinators. So whether you have new student support coordinators or seasoned student support coordinators, Alexis offers networking sessions, one-on-one technical assistance, and facilitates many of the courses in the PD portal. Next slide, please. Our next project is the Integrated Education and Training Project, which myself and Allison Ludlow, who's on our call today, who works at Lehigh-Carbon Community College and oversees IETs herself. We both provide support to agencies across the Commonwealth. And we have in the process of making some changes to our course that is offered around integrated education and training. It'll be on demand, still with coaching, but it also be broken down into micro learning, so you can break it apart and do pieces of it if you're trying to, take IET apart in chunks and have a better understanding of it. And then in late October, we're going to do a Q&A networking session. So any of you that are currently not doing integrated education and training and really want to talk about that and what it could look like, or what are some of the benefits of it, what are some of the things that you need to think about before you dive into IET, we hope that you'll join us for that networking session. And then we just wanted to also mention we have quite a few programs that are collaborating with the pre-apprenticeship office and IET around community health worker, but also other opportunities to align with pre-apprenticeships. And we have some interesting developments going on as well with UPMC and healthcare occupations. So if you, again, don't really understand IET or aren't currently doing IET, we really hope that you'll reach out to us and talk through that with us and see if that's something that you want to consider doing, even if it's, looking at that regionally or joining some other programs that are already doing IET and replicating some great things that are happening. And so with that, we got through all of our slides in time, and we'll open it up for any other questions that anyone has. You can unmute or type them in the chat for any of the projects. So Amanda, I think that question's for you.
Right. Yes, you do have to formally sign up for the kickoff. I'm not able to bring up my emails right now. I did send out an email to all the program contacts, probably sometime in late June. But if you reach out to your advisor, she can also share it with you as well. But yes, we are asking that all people who are going to attend the kickoff register individually so that we have everyone's name and we have a count of participants. There we go. Mary just shared the link. Thank you, Mary. There was a question from someone. What about the Andy program or the illustrative mathematics? I don't know if that would be Diane and Amanda. Is there Prolo support for that, or?
Yes, this is Diane. There is a course available for the illustrative mathematics curriculum. So you can locate that course in the PD portal and register for that. I'm sorry, I can't speak to Andy. I'm not sure about any of the work going on with that. Okay. But illustrative math, there is definitely a course with coaching support.
Thank you.
Can I also add to that for the illustrative math? It's also on the PAIR website, the PA Adult Ed Resources website. So illustrative mathematics is like a monstrous K-12 curriculum that has like 150 hours of instruction for each grade level. But it's an outstanding curriculum, and it is something that is appropriate for adults. We did have it field tested by some pilot teachers. So what's on the PA Adult Ed Resources website is kind of like a scaled down version of it, where basically it has key lessons for each CCRS level and specific content areas. So it's really just like a kind of like a mini curriculum for adult education for math. So you can take the course, and what that does is that helps teachers to come up with a plan for starting to implement those lessons. and get some support and have some coaching and things like that. But the resources are free to use. So like any teacher can go on and find quality math lessons that they want. The Andy, I don't know, Amanda, if you want me to comment on that, like I'm familiar with it, but I'm not like, I know that we were planning to do something with that this year.
Okay. I think if you're not comfortable providing details, I would recommend that agency reach out maybe to their ProLo consultant and be able to get more information specific to their question.
Okay.
And I am sharing. Can everyone see the PAIR website? So, paadultedresources.org. Here's the administration tab, and the webinars and meetings are here. Which Manfred, which we were showed earlier. Sorry, I misspoke your name. Other resources. This is where performance data. We had some questions, people asking about, EFL gains and information for agencies' official data. The draft items are here. Once they're all finalized, we do put those on the PDE website, but those are available for you. A variety of other resources. If you are excited and want to go read the legislation, there are links to that. Yeah, there's just a lot of information on the website. Lots of resources for teaching. Here's the math curriculum, the illustrative mathematics that they were talking about. Here are the PA foundation skills, which I know have been demonstrated before. Interactive and things like that. E-data, resources, workforce, career pathways resources, professional development, including the PDS projects, and then the PD portal. So it's lots of great information. The when it comes to the policies and guidelines, the official compliance related documents from the Department of Education, that is on the PDE website, the Adult Basic and Family Literacy Education pages. But anything related to the professional development, teacher support, the professional development system, et cetera, is on the PA Adult Education Resources website. Are there any other questions? Okay. I will be covering some of the updates for 24-25 at the kickoff. So you're not missing any information, but I'll do that at the kickoff. We wanted to have the PDS projects share what they will be making available this year, because one of the things that we heard from the evaluation that was conducted earlier this year was that programs wanted to learn about what would be available a little bit earlier so that they could use that to inform their PI/PD plans in a timely fashion, allow you to budget for it, both time-wise as well as scheduling classes, et cetera. So we hope that this was useful for you. And if there are no more questions, thank you very much. And I hope you all have a very nice afternoon. Stop the recording.